glad the sound of rain on the roof. I ran across something last night. Actually, it's still nighttime. What is the easy answer to this? And it would be a new movement called Defund the Politicians. There's nothing wrong with the way a government is set up. But what's wrong is the ability of parties to bribe or blackmail lawmakers into either not making the world better, but would cost the interested parties money, or that the interested parties could, through influence, get money funneled their way. There's been a lot of talk for years and years about the lobbyists and getting the lobbyists out of Washington and getting big business out of Washington. And the solution is to get big money out of politics. For example, Joe Biden is into China for $1.5 billion. And you can't blame any businessmen. I've seen the ads before the current debacle. Come to China, we have great everything. It looks like Las Vegas. And offshoring jobs to China means you make more money. There's a microphone, for example, which is made by the most famous microphone company. It retails for $130. That factory works from 9 till 5, and then they break from 5 till 6. They change the paint color on the grill on the top and work from 6 till 2 in the morning. And those microphones, you can buy 6 of them for $120. And whomever is selling it for $120 is making money. And the wholesaler made money. So what's the actual cost? I think Lindsey Graham is also into China for $1.5 billion. So of course you can't say anything against him. I think you just pull the plug and you lose it all. And the way that politicians can get these kinds of monies is they are allowed to do insider trading, which is the other thing that needs to be eliminated. And it's, oh, come on, they're exposed to all this information. What do you expect them to do? You expect them to not do insider trading. So, this is endemic, systemic. It's everywhere. And this is the second thing that needs to be passed into law. Of course, they will never cut their own off. So you will have to start writing letters saying if you don't get behind this, you're not getting reelected. And psychologically, these kinds of people, the thing they fear most is losing their job. They usually go into a psychotic break. This is treason for money, which is the worst kind of treason. If it's treason for an actual belief, okay. But remember, the penalty for treason is firing a squad without a trial. Just a little tidbit. The information that there was a pandemic was released to the public February, March 2019. In January 2019, several members of legislative assemblies dumped their stock portfolios. And when they were accused of insider knowledge, they said, oh, it was just a coincidence. Like everything else that happens is just a coincidence. There's a wonderful film called The Counselor, which you should see. A couple of great lines in there. One of them is the coming slaughter will be unimaginable. And the other one is about the cartels. They've heard of coincidence. They just don't believe in it. So, these people will not correct themselves. They have to be corrected by the voters saying, we'll get groups together and unelect you or not elect you. And the way out of this for them is there is a justice system where their redress of grievances is. If you tell absolutely everything and name names, you get amnesty. If we find out later that you held something back or lied, you get 10 times the punishment. So, for example, lying to Congress is a $5,000 fine, I think. That would go up to $50,000 if they find out you lied. And the purpose of this kind of justice is not to punish people, but to expose their immorality and move on to the next person connected with the immorality. And the reason for these things is to get to the truth, what actually happened. Thank you. Because when you get to the why did this happen, you can fix it. And that's what we need to do. I ran across a report 2 days ago that said the temperature of the Earth has not risen in the last 15 years. And if you remember the old argument, scientists A say global warming, global warming, and the scientists B said there is no global warming. And these people were attacked, although they're just as credited and credentials as these people. So it was never resolved. It was just left hanging in the air, pun intended. Now, the rain on the roof here. Is normal for Vancouver. It's really rainy here, but this is supposed to be a pineapple express. After months of dryness, now we've got torrential rains. This is called weather. And the same thing could happen for the U.S. If you want to make rain, you need to build a cloudbuster, which is a crystal in a pipe pointed at the sky surrounded by metals. And you can clear the sky of chemtrails in 2 hours. If you want it to rain, you lay this thing down on the ground and it will pull rain out of the sky. I made one of these a few years back and we had record sunshine way into November. Little old me scrap pipes, scrap metal, and a white plastic bucket from Walmart. By the way, it's Bill Gates is funding the 40 fleets of chemtrail planes. You might want to write him a letter saying this is a stupid idea. The plan is to reduce the sunshine on the Earth by 20%. 20% to work against global warming, which is not real anyway. I have certain anniversary days that happen throughout the year, and since 2010 I've been checking temperatures and timing of things, and nothing's changed. I have other videos where I explain. There's a birthday that I go to. We have a picnic in the same park, and there's a V in the tree there, and the sun goes right down in the V. When they said the Earth's tilting, and there's a pole shift, and the skin of the Earth is skewing around on the surface of the planet, it lined up exactly. So that wasn't true. In early January, there are thunderstorms at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the same day for the last 10 years. And then there are rainbows. So, not much change in the weather. The political systems are fine. It's the greedy people who get elected for whatever reasons, ego or money, who will not vote against stupid and criminal stuff. And the fate of the world is now at stake, not in the sense of global disaster, which will be weather wars done by a HAARP. And but if totalitarianism takes over the United States, what do you think will happen if totalitarianism, communism, gets a hold of the world's most powerful military force? Who could fight that? It's so bad. Putin is giving advice to Biden saying you're screwing up. You're making the same mistakes Russia did 100 years ago. How bad is that when the communists are saying, don't lose your democracy? It will be bad. Unfortunately, you are under a three-pronged biological warfare attack. And chemtrails is 1/3 of that. The rest you can surmise from the latest news. When I was young, I was a science kid, and I know that the solution to all these problems were in popular mechanics in the early 60s. For example, Death Valley, 130 degrees, no shade. That could be filled with parabolic sunshine reflectors that will be pointed at containers full of water which would boil and make steam, which could drive turbines to make electricity, which could be taken to the big city that's near there. No pollution, not that much cost. It's just sitting there waiting to happen. But no, we have to kill 7 billion people because they're driving their cars and causing global warming, which is, let me remind you, cars are carbon monoxide, not carbon dioxide. GM had electric cars 20, 30 years ago. They were pulled off the market and physically destroyed. There's only one left. It's in a museum. That could be brought back. Though I don't know if the grid can supply that much energy, because the same amount of energy would be required to move the same cars around. However, an exciting problem for new people. Lost my train of thought. There's so much data that needs to be collated. Now it's 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and somebody's behind me in this parking lot with a boombox just bashing out rock and roll. That's freedom. This whole thing is unnecessary. It's not natural. It's being done by communists and billionaires hoping to be able to micromanage the whole world to their advantage. And the problem, reaction, solution will be when this thing tips over and we're getting the public rioting about it. The solution, they will say, see, if we had a one world government, there wouldn't be this dissent and wars. It's a good idea. Then we could have peace. And from the Communist Manifesto, your job will be to usher in the utopia. Based on a moral imperative. This has to be stopped, or your children and your grandchildren will be living in a totalitarian dystopia. Look that word up if you don't know what it is. This is 1984. Read the book, watch all 3 movies, listen and learn, and then after, with the AI and DNA, comes Brave New World, where they will manufacture classes of people to do things. All of it unnecessary. No one in the government is going to stop this. They've all been paid off or blackmailed, or shown statistics that show them the world is going to end because of people. And isn't the world about people? I recommend trying to get save as many people as I can by doing these videos. I've been doing this for 11 years, backed up by 40 years of research before that. trying to break through. 80% of the people will never get this. So. Let them be Karens. Behind the curtain is we're changing from the negative to the positive side of, I think, a 25,000-year-long cycle. Might be called the Kali Yuga or something like that. Half of it's cold and dark and evil, and half of it's the golden age of Aquarius, which is supposed to be happening now. And the desperation of the psycho crowd is that they have to get the world government installed before we get too deep into the age of Aquarius, and they want to lock us up for the next 12,000 years. Don't let it happen.